para-athlete seated dynamic warm-up options. The first option we'll discuss are banded options. Bringing the arms in and out, we're encouraging the scapula to mobilize and encouraging the upper back to get warmed up. Using diagonals is a great way to encourage the shoulder muscles to get involved with mobilization and activation. You can work both diagonals, and you can modify the resistance on the band, either keeping it heavy with your hands closer together or further apart for just working through the range of motion. This is an up and overhead kind of pull down, activating those lats. Moving through the full range of motion of the shoulders. You could even keep the arms completely straight and pull apart and up rather than bending the elbows and pull back. You can also do a banded seated row, put a little bit of tension on the band. This particular exercise is good for the serratus anterior. You're pushing against the looped band as you move your hands up and down with the arms straight. Here are some dynamic warm-up options with no equipment. Seated, you can do some hip flexions, gently lifting and pulling the leg towards the chest. If the athlete has the ability to activate the hip flexors, you can do this as an active, or you can do this as assisted if you're going to use the hands underneath the femur to help bring it towards the chest. Next, we can do straightening the legs and kind of a sweeping motion, opening up the hips, working on stretching the hamstring, also working on the pivot motion. You can have your athlete keep a more upright body, or as shown in the video here, a rounded body, and just going for maximum reach all the way to the toes, stretching that posterior chain. Next, you can bring one leg over the other and pivot forward, and then switch. This is a nice piriformis stretch, gets the posterior capsule of the hip. You could do this with a little bit of pace, or you could do it a little bit slower if you're looking for more of a stretch. You want your athlete to sit tall and hinge from the hip. Next, you can try a thoracic extension, so hands behind the head, elbows pointing out or in front of you, bringing the upper back, trying to reverse the curvature of the thoracic spine. Working on open up thoracic extension, making sure that you can sit tall in this version. Next, you can do some overhead presses, one arm at a time. And again, you can work with a little bit of pace as you're warming up. You can do both arms at the same time, warming up those shoulders and upper back. Next, if your arms are out to the side, kind of in an airplane style, you can do a little bit of like a windmill position here. Again, if you do this with a little bit of pace, you're mobilizing and warming up the muscles at the same time, also working on the hinge here too. Next, you can do like a runner's arm, just to work on more rotation through the spine, warming up the abdominal and trunk and back muscles, giving you some blood flow to that area, warming up for rowing. Again, you can do a reach here. This is more of a lat concentration, getting those lats to lengthen and warm up at the same time. And our last exercise here, we're going to be working just on a pullback. So again, just warming up those rowing motions, getting those scapulas ready. You can work on tightening the abdominals, bringing the arms back towards the chest. If you're a coach or an athlete looking for more options for your dynamic warm-up, please feel free to email me at rowingonthesquare@gmail.com or check out my website, rowingonthesquare.com.